Hi, my name is Jeff Davis. I'm with the Davis Group Real Estate Team. Today we're going to explore one of the concepts of home buying. The one we're going to look at today is how do you sell your home? Watch this video and discover some ways you can make your home buying and selling experience more productive and less stressful. In today's competitive market, it is imperative that a home seller, knows what a buyer is looking for. And that's the reason why so many realtors are out there, so many sellers are out there trying to position themselves so that the buyers will come to them. Now, we have two types of markets typically in real estate. You have either a buyer's market, where there are more buyers than sellers, or you have a seller's market. But irregardless of what the market is, if your house is priced right, if it is marketed right, if it is positioned right in the marketplace, there's a very good chance it'll sell. So what I want to do is I want to share with you some thoughts about this. How do you sell your house? Remember that for most people, the selling of their house is the biggest single financial investment they will probably make in their life. Typically, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're talking about a very complex transaction. Real estate, even though a lot of people are in it, is very complex because look at the players in the game. You've got the buyer, the seller, the realtor, escrow companies, attorneys, banks, appraisers, home inspectors. There's just a slew of people involved in this process. So it's a very complicated process and one where a lot of professional people partake in. So let's talk about it. How do you go about selling your house? Number one, first thing you want to do, you have to determine why are you interested in selling today, right now. Why didn't you put the house on the market weeks before, months before? Why don't you wait and put it on the market later, down the line? Why are you thinking about doing it today? You have to be clear in your mind if you're looking to sell your property as to why you want to sell it now. Because what may happen in this process is it can become frustrating. Sometimes, a house sits on the market longer than you think it should, and that's frustration. Sometimes you get it sold, but the buyer is a source of frustration. So you want to make sure that you understand why are you selling right now, today. Why do you want to put it on the market now? The second thing you want to determine is the timeline. When do you want to close the sale? When do you want to actually turn the keys of your house over to that new buyer? Now, some people have a very quick time frame. They're saying, I want to close in 30 days. Other people may say, oh, I don't care when it closes, as long as it closes. Then there are those that say, I don't care if it closes or not. Regardless of where you are, you need to be clear on what it is that you're looking for and what you're expecting. When do you want it to close? Now understand, if you're looking for a quick close, maybe you want a cash close and you want to just get out of it as fast as possible, then you're typically going to have to be willing to give up something on the price. Because a person that's going to come in and buy it fast probably is not going to give you the full asking price right then and there. They'll take some negotiating to do that. Now, if you're willing to wait a little bit, because in all honesty, most buyers have to get financing. Financing takes time. So if you're willing to go through the normal channels, then you can probably ask for a better price or get closer to the market price for the property. And that's the next thing, the selling price. Now, people that are not in this business, let's say, sometimes look at real estate the same way they would if they were selling a car or maybe selling some clothes or jewelry. And they think that the price is set by the person who's selling. But that's not how it is in real estate. The price is set by what buyers are willing to pay. It really doesn't make a difference how much you think the house is worth. And I know that may sound a little harsh, but that's the reality of it. The only thing that really matters is what is the buyer willing to pay for it. So, for example, you may sit and say, I've got a house that's worth $1 million. And the buyer says, well, I wouldn't give you no more than 600 for it. Well, where do you think it's going? As a seller, you can say, well, forget it. I'm not going to sell it for that price. The buyer may say, well, look, if you don't want to sell me your house for 600, I can find another one that is, comparable to yours, and they'll take 600. You don't know where it's going to go. So the selling price basically comes from what is the market willing to bear? What have buyers in similar situations paid for this house? Now, if you're in a market and houses comparable to yours have sold for $1 million, and a buyer comes and offers you 600, then with confidence you can reject the offer. Because unless there's a need for you to sell quickly at such a discount, you can just wait. Because the market is showing you, wait, other people are paying this for houses like mine. Now, the challenge for most sellers is just because a house may be, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath like your house, and it's, 2 miles away, a lot of the attributes of the houses are the same. Sometimes the seller will say, well, that one sold for that, so mine should sell for that. But that's not how it works. Typically, even if a buyer goes in there and makes an offer for a price, if they need financing, the bank is going to send an appraiser out. And the appraiser is going to compare apples to apples. They're going to find houses comparable to yours, similar to yours, that are typically within less than a mile, preferably less than 4 blocks away from your house. And they're going to get at least a minimum of 3 of these houses to establish a price. So you should always go into this with an idea of what you think you want, taking into consideration what it's going to take to pay off your current obligations, the money that you want to walk away with. That, yes, you should do. But understand that price is not set based on your needs. It's not set on your mortgage. It's not set on what you'd like to walk away with. Price is set based on what the market can bear. And basically, the houses that have sold that are comparable to yours have sold to buyers. So the buyers paid that price for the house. The appraiser puts together the report showing that. And then when they go to the bank and say, listen, I found, he's asking $1 million, and I found 3 houses comparable to his, and they each sold for $1 million or a little more, the bank will feel confident in the $1 million price. As a seller, you can feel confident in the $1 million price. Should you use a realtor? Now, a lot of times people don't want to use a realtor for a variety of reasons. And it doesn't mean that you cannot sell your house without one, because you can. In real estate, we call that the FSBO, the for sale by owner. Nothing wrong with that. Just understand again, as I said earlier, that the process is complicated. There are a lot of moving pieces in trying to sell a piece of property. You don't just put a sign up on it, people come and do a contract. Number one, in California, the contracts are pages long. So for most people, even getting through the contract can be challenging. Another thing is that there are a lot of what we call contingencies. There are things that you have to take into consideration when you sell your house. The biggest contingency is the mortgage contingency. Someone comes in, wants to buy the house, and they have to go to the bank to get a mortgage. You have to be sure that they're qualified, that the likelihood of them being able to get the mortgage is very good. And it's very hard to do that unless it's something that you've been doing. And so when you think about, should I use a realtor? Why use a realtor? Because realtors typically make their living doing this. They bring together buyers and sellers. They help to negotiate prices, put together contracts, connect buyers with lenders, stay on top of the lending process to make sure that the buyer can get approved to close. And then once the closing comes together, pull all the pieces together. And I'm not even talking about all the little things that can go on. I mean, you got the inspections, the appraisal. Sometimes there's a home inspection. You may have other types of inspections. So what sellers do is in exchange for a realtor's expertise, they allow them to handle these parts of the process and to keep them informed. Now, you could consider going FSBO, again, for sale by owner. You can think about if you have the time to do that. I mean, if you've got a full-time job, you've got a family, you got responsibilities, you may not have the opportunity to be able to talk to buyers who call at 2 p.m. wanting to ask questions about your house, or who want to stop by at 4 p.m. to take a look at it, and you're at work till 6. So there are a lot of things to consider. Is the commission important? Yes. The fees that are charged? Yes. And so what ends up happening is a realtor comes out and they give you a presentation. They go over what those fees are, and you have to decide two things. Number one, are they negotiable? Then number two, do you want to pay it? And then if there are two realtors involved, there's going to be the fee fight, as it were, because everybody, of course, wants to get paid for doing their work. But as a seller, you've got to just consider these options. Finally, you're thinking about selling your house. What about repairs? What about the things that need to be done to sell the house? Okay. Now, there's a couple of things to think about when you're thinking about repairs. Number one, there are things that have to be fixed. For example, appraiser comes out and sees that the window is broken in one of the bedrooms. They're going to require that you fix that prior to the loan closing. So even though the bank may approve the buyer, the bank won't approve the closing until the window's repaired. You may go in there and maybe the air conditioning doesn't work, and the bank requires that you fix it or you replace it. Maybe there's a roof leak, or there's been a roof leak. Then the bank wants it certified, showing that it's not leaking anymore. From the bank's perspective, this house represents a sizable investment. And so they want to make sure before they lend the money on this house that all of the pieces are in place and that everything is the way that it should be. So you're selling your house. You have to ask yourself, number one, am I going to do the repairs that are required? Then there's number two. There are certain repairs you may do that even if the bank didn't require it, will help you to sell the house faster. Example. Maybe you've got a house where the bedrooms haven't been painted for years. And so the appraiser goes in there and he sees it's a little dingy and stuff, but they're not going to tell you to paint the walls because that doesn't have anything to do per se with the value of the house. However, a buyer walking in there may see that could be turned off totally. So you may have to say, okay, here's what I'm going to do before I sell the house. I'm going to paint this room. Maybe I'll paint it white. I'll paint it beige, some neutral color, so that it won't be a turnoff to buyers. When you work with someone who understands these processes, a realtor or a professional that understands the processes, they're able to kind of walk you through the house and kind of show you the things that need to be done to make it appealing to buyers. So, you know your house better than anyone else. But when you're looking to sell it, you have to step out of the eyes of the seller and step into the eyes of the buyer. And you have to see the things that buyers see. Because everything that a buyer sees that they consider detrimental, they're either going to make a decision not to buy your house because they don't want to do the work, or they're going to try to get you to discount the price. So, when you're ready to sell, you want to make sure your house is sellable. You want to make sure that it is put out there in the market with all the other competing properties in such a way that it stands out. And to do that, many times, takes the eyes and the experience of a professional. So, this video program is called House Deals California. It's the first in a series of videos that we're going to do that talk about how to buy and to sell real estate successfully. In our next video, we're going to be talking about another aspect of the home buying process, the buying and selling process. So be sure to subscribe to our video series, House Deals California. so that you can be in the know when we have additional videos on this channel for you to view. Now, we have additional resources, books and things related to real estate. Our website is www.nwcom.org. Again, that's www.nwcom.org. That's where our resources are held. If you're looking for a realtor, someone to come out and give you an estimation of your property and the value, and to present you with a strategy to market this house for sale, you can reach me at our website, www.thedavisgroupreteam.com. Again, that's www.thedavisgroupreteam.com. Until next time, this is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group, hoping that selling your house becomes a great investment of time for you.